You are listening to the Booktrospective Podcast, a podcast for all types of books. And even though we read all types of books across all different types of genres, we want to give a disclaimer. Many of our books and a lot of our content sometimes is intended for mature audiences. And we don't believe in censorship, but we do want our listeners to have the opportunity to decide if our episode or podcast is good for them. So with that, let's get into the episode. Hey, it's Dominique.
And Keely.
And you are listening to Booktrospective. And this week we are covering King of Ashes by S.A. Cosby. And we're recording back to back. So Keely's week has already been reviewed with me. Keely, do you have a new question for me?
I do.
Uh-oh.
Alrighty. Where did I put it? Which sibling dynamic are you? Are you the successful one who escaped, the one who stayed and held things together, or the chaotic one who always gets in trouble?
Two. I stayed and held everything together.
I am definitely, that's me too.
We are ghosts. Okay. I guess we can start with the blurb and then I'll talk about him.
Mm-hmm.
So, Keely the blurb.
The blurb. This one's much longer than the last one.
I'm sure.
A son returning home, a dangerous debt, secrets about to ignite, and a family consumed by flames. Roman Carruthers left the smoke and fire of his family's crematory business behind in his hometown of Jefferson Run, Virginia. Is enjoying a life of shallow excess as a financial advisor in Atlanta until he gets a call from his sister Neveah telling him their father is in a coma after a hit-and-run accident. When Roman goes home, he learns the accident may not be what it seems. His brother Dante is deeply in debt to dangerous, ruthless criminals, and Roman is willing to do anything to protect his family. Anything. A financial whiz with a head for numbers and a talent for making his clients rich, Roman must use all his skills to try to save his family while dealing with a shadow that has haunted them all for 20 years, the disappearance of their mother when Roman and his siblings were teenagers. It's a mystery that Neveah, who has sacrificed so much of her life to hold her family together, is determined to solve once and for all. As fate and chance and heartache ignite their lives, the Carruthers family must pull together to survive or see their lives turn to ash, because as their father counseled them from birth, nothing lasts forever. Everything burns.
All right. So, S.A. Cosby does not truly need any introduction, but we've talked about him several times, but I don't think I've ever known what his
love this man.
We do love him. His actual name is Sean Andre Cosby. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Keith Royston? Is that what his name?
I think so.
He, that October, because they moved, but when he was up here last, he brought in copies, and he saw, I had King of Ashes up on the shelf, and I didn't know either until he was like, oh, you have Sean in here. He was like, and I was like, what? He said, I met Sean at at some kind of conference or something. He's like, he's such a great dude. And I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that was his name.
Sean. Okay.
I thought his name was S.A.
Yeah, S.A. Oh, I love it. Yeah. Well, S.A. until we meet him. We can call him Sean. But he is known as a crime thriller author, also Southern noir. It says fantasy on here. I don't know if I would consider any of this fantasy.
No.
But notably...
It may have been referring to the end of the world as we know it.
Right. I haven't got to his in that one. I'm still reading that, but in between my freedom bin. Most notable, Blacktop Wasteland, Razor Blade Tears, All the Sinners Bleed. We've read lots of his. But yeah, so he pretty much always writes some kind of Southern crime thriller because he's from Virginia. Almost always involves something like racially involved, like black versus or white kind of thing. But this one was a little different. So it's been a while since I read it, but essentially we have these 3 siblings, the Carruthers, and their mom is dead. The dad has like an accident.
The mom is missing.
Mom is missing.
Yes.
Sorry. And the dad, they own a mortuary, right?
A crematory.
Crematory.
Yeah.
Same thing. And so it's always like some like country bumpkin town kind of thing. And so the oldest, what was his name again? Roman.
Yes.
He kind of like got out. He's in Atlanta, like hotshot, like finance bro. But he comes back because his sister Neveah calls him because their like youngest brother. What's his youngest brother's name?
It is.
That's not Khalid.
Dante.
He's like in with a bad crowd. So he comes back, like tries to like reason Atlanta with these people, knowing he can't do that, and like ends up in a bunch of mess, which is typical. And so he basically like gets dragged right into the mess with his brother, whilst also like trying to solve family mystery with like what happened to their mom. There are some miscommunications that occur in this book that lead the family into a bit more turmoil, and it doesn't really end. Not that any of his books really end with like a cherry on top. Sometimes they do end on a lighter note than others. I will say this one ended interestingly.
Yeah.
Yeah, King of Ashes. I will say that it just ended interestingly. So, yeah. If you could describe this book in one word, what would you say?
Fiery.
I don't know. God. It's been so long since I read this book. God. I want to say something like, not stupid, but like, it's always just like Dante was just so dumb. Like, I just, like, avoidable, like, preventable, or like, something like that. Like, it's just like, did we have to?
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. Okay. So, triggers. I'm sure we have triggers for this book.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. I was spacing.
That's fine.
Violence, murder, gun violence, death, drug abuse.
All the things.
Blood, torture, addiction, grief, gore, alcohol,
Cheats.
fire, infidelity, cursing.
No stone left unturned.
Physical abuse, mass shootings, car accident, vomit, suicide, which I don't remember that.
Neither.
But there were 11 people put it, so.
I do think I can kinda. We'll come back to that.
Okay. Racial slurs, gaslighting, mental illness, animal cruelty, toxic friendship, misogyny, medical trauma, domestic abuse, police brutality, hate crime, racism, sexism, terminal illness, trafficking.
I'm not laughing at the triggers. It's just like a never-ending list of triggers. Oh my god.
So only one person put this, and I definitely do not remember this. Cannibalism?
No, I don't know. I would definitely.
I would have remembered if there was cannibalism.
That's crazy.
But
I don't know.
Okay, and they put that as a minor, like, because on Storygraph there's like graphic.
When can
moderate,
cannibalism be
minor?
Okay.
Maybe that was an accident.
Maybe. Accidental cannibalism. It's kind of like
yeah.
the ice cream. Oh gosh. Okay. Well, if you have not read this book, which came out in June, and you do not wish to be spoiled, you can pause here and come back later. If not, we are going to get started. All right. So we open up with Roman. It's like POV because that's what S.A. Cosby does. It bounces around. So we start with Roman. We open up with him in Atlanta. He's out like with a friend. He goes out like with a friend. He kind of works for celebrities, or like high profile type clients or whatever. But that night he dreams about his mom. His mom has been missing since he was 16. And the next day he gets a call from Neveah, who was his sister, who tells him that his father is in a coma because he was in a car accident. So he has to like rearrange his schedule. He tells his assistant like, I'm going to be gone, like not forever, but like I just need to make sure my dad's good. So figure it out. So he flies home to Virginia. But before he does, this is what I was like, as soon as I started reading this, I was like, this is different. So before he goes home, he goes to see this dominatrix, named Miss Delicate. So Roman is like, you're like quintessential businessman who is like dominant all day long and needs like a dominatrix. But like, I don't know that in any other S.A. Cosby books that we get like anything of this level. Yeah. And I was like, whoa. I was like, this is new for you. So like she's like 10 years older than him, but it's basically because he has mommy issues. So, but he basically, they do their thing, and then he's like, I'm going home to check on my dad, and he's like, you have guilt, and you kind of like make yourself be punished because you have issues with guilt and forgiveness, and basically like you need to go to your father and like kind of work it out. So he flies out or whatever. He's kind of reflecting on all the things that have kind of gone on with his parents, and kind of like how he's been like indifferent toward them, and like just kind of everything in his life. So of course, like the little small town is called Jefferson Run. It's in Virginia. It used to be, it's kind of like Muncie used to be like a manufacturing hub, and now all the factories have closed, and so there's not much left. But their family business is the Carruthers family crematory. I could never work. I know that I'm a nurse and I deal with dead bodies, and that doesn't creep me out, but like for that to be my primary business, I don't know if I can do that. Like I don't want to do that all the time. So this is the first time he's been home in 5 years. His sister meets him at the hospital and says that their dad's name is Keith. He has 9 broken ribs. He has a brain bleed. He has a bunch of injuries. Visiting hours are over, but he like basically kind of like muscles his way in there to like see his dad, and he's basically like, if you don't let me see my dad, I'm gonna get on the internet and say it's because I'm black, which sorry, not sorry, I do support dropping a black card. If there's a time to use it, this is one of the times. So Neveah is basically like, I think this was foul play. Like, their dad's van was struck by a train after he was run off the road, and a couple weeks earlier someone had also slashed their dad's tires, and their younger brother Dante has been like, that nobody can get a hold of him since the accident. So Roman is like, he's gonna help, because Neveah also is the only one that helps their dad at the crematory, so he's gonna go help her at the business since their dad's out of commission. He does not want anything to do with this business. Like, he has no desire to be the king of ashes, as they call their dad. And he says he would rather let the title burn with him if his father is no longer able to do it. So essentially, Roman's mother had been a surgical tech, and before they opened their business, their dad had been a gravedigger, and they all like lived in this little mobile home. But now Neveah and Dante live with their dad in this like 2-story manor. Like, it's a nice house. They live in a gated community. Their mom's name is Bonita, which makes you think of Look Bonita.
Do you feel Bonita?
I feel Bonita. So like they got their new house, they move in, and like 6 months after they like move on up with the Jeffersons, their mom goes missing. Like right after like a night shift at the hospital, and it was in 2003. So Roman goes to the house. He goes in the kitchen. He like starts drinking his dad's scotch. He's like looking over the cookie jar that used to be like his mom's, thinking about his mom. And later that night, Dante comes home. He's high. He's glad to see Roman, and he starts talking about how much like he misses their mom. He wishes like their dad would say how proud of him he is. And Roman like kind of sympathizes because their mom was, their mom. Like, she was kind of their guiding light. But he does tell Dante, like, you need to go see Dad. Like, he's in bad shape. And he's trying to keep Dante, because Dante's like, well, I'm about to go out, like, whatever. He's like, well, you shouldn't, like, be driving. So Roman's like, well, I'll go with you, whatever. So they go to a local bar. So Roman drives Dante's car, which had been a gift from their dad, to this local bar called Candy's. And Dante buys, like, drinks for the bar. And he's like, basically saying that, Roman basically like, everybody should be careful. Like, we don't know how much money it's going to cost, like, for Dad. Like, we shouldn't be spending a whole bunch of money. So Dante starts crying. He's like, I don't love Dad just because of his money. And, like, he's like, also, like, I know I'm the dumb one out of all of you guys, like, whatever. So Roman's, like, hugging his brother. He's like, everything's fine. Like, it's going to be fine. Even though, like, they do kind of think of him as the dumb one. He is the runt of the family. But, like, so then, like, these two guys come in, and they have, like, this, like, pendant on. Like, they basically, like, they're no good. And Dante looks, like, scared. And he's basically like, okay, it's time to go, whatever. And they go out, and, like, one of the guys lights the hood of Dante's car on fire while they are literally inside of it. And Roman has to, like, put the flames out with his shirt. So they go back home, and Roman's like, yeah, talk. So Dante's like, okay, like, yes, Dad was attacked because of them and because of me. And basically, Dante's like, I basically felt like a baby because I am a baby, because my dad does everything for me. So I took some of the money and started dealing drugs for absolutely no reason, because I am literally Tariq off of Power. I am literally every young black boy who has money. I feel like I have to get out the mud, even though I don't have to get it out of the mud, because I'm stupid. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, so he goes, and he now owes these men $300,000 because, yeah. And so, instead of selling the drugs, he used the drugs, and he now owes all that money. And so those two guys are called, their names are Torrent and Tranquil, and they lead up, like, they're the gang. They're called the Black Baron Boys, or something like that. And Dante's asking, like, Dante asked Roman, like, not to tell Neveah about it, because, like, she's already stressed out, which, like, no, I think she should know, because, like, because you're probably next.
It affects her.
Yeah. And so he's basically like, Roman's like, okay, set up a meeting with these guys. Like, we'll meet at the crematory tomorrow. Dante's nervous, and he's like, well, the last time, like, we tried to fix things, like, it didn't really go so well. But Roman's like, just trust me, like, it'll be fine. So the next day, Roman, like, is helping out his sister at the business. Like, they do all their work, and then they end up talking about Mom. And Neveah is, like, talking about how she's, like, doesn't understand because their mom's car was found near the train tracks, which is somewhere, like, their mom never went. And she believes that their dad killed her and just cremated her because she was having an affair with one of their employees named Oscar. And Roman is like, no, like, our dad would never kill, like, our mom. Like, he loved her, but Neveah's like, I don't think so. He's like, the more you love somebody, she said, like, basically he loved her so much that, like, he was so brokenhearted that he would kill her, basically. And so she ends up texting, like, this guy named Chauncey, which is so funny to me. Because punk-ass Chauncey. Like, that is so funny to me. But anyways, his name is Chauncey. And she's basically like, hey, I can't meet up with you tonight. And, like, Neveah goes home. So Roman stays because he's meeting with those guys tonight. And he's kind of thinking about his dad's motto, which is everything burns. And so, like, even though, like, Roman is basically worth, like, $1 million, like, obviously, like, net worth doesn't mean that you just have, like, liquid cash. So he's trying to figure out, like, how much money he can pull, like, what he can do, what kind of deal can he set up. So the guys show up, and they have, like, some other people with him. And Roman basically says, like, he can give them $200,000 now, and he can give them another $50,000 by the end of the month. And then he says, like, basically that you get the other 50 from, like, Dante's friends. So one of them is like, well, actually, Dante owes us $4,200,000 because he promised to pay us back with interest. Oh, my God. So Roman is, like, trying to, like, he's trying to haggle with these guys. They literally shove a gun in his mouth, like, shatter his teeth. Like, they're not hearing none of that. So, or was it in Dante? No, it's in Roman's mouth, yeah. And so Roman basically, like, agrees to pay, like, Dante's debt. And he, like, basically says, like, he'll use his skills to, like, make them more money, and they can use like the crematory to like dispose of their bodies for like a month or whatever. And they still cut off one of Dante's pinkies like as punishment.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Stupid. Anyways, so basically, like Roman has to take Dante to the hospital, but they still can't reattach his finger, so sucks for him. And Roman literally has to go to the dentist. He's like, implants now, fix my mouth. He goes home and he's basically like, he tells like Dante like, we have to get rid of them, like we have to kill them, like they got to go. So Roman calls his friend Khalil, who he was with in the beginning of the book, because Khalil is like not just a security, like he's like ex-military, like he knows how to like take care of business. And Dante's like, I don't know, like these guys are crazy. But also like, so basically the people that he like, his friends that he like used the drugs with are, it's like another guy and this girl that he like is also like with his girlfriend basically. So while all this is going on, we learn that Neveah is like not just like meeting up with this guy named Chauncey. Chauncey is also like a police detective or whatever who is married, I believe, and they've been having an affair for like 6 months, and he sucks. So there's that. So, but she goes and meets with him, like basically like, please figure out what's going on with my family. So, Roman is like back in the house. He decides to cook because like he basically learned how to cook when his like parents were working on like the business and growing the business. And his sister comes home and basically is like confronting him, trying to figure out like, you know what's going on and like you're not telling me or whatever. And she's like, you know, I don't know if you noticed, like I spend my entire life like working in this shop, like none of you do anything to help. I don't have a man, like I don't have anything. The rest of you get to like live your lives. And like she literally pulls like a hot dish out of her hands with her like like a pan out of the oven with her bare hands, and Dante's like, oh my god. She's like, yeah, I work at a crematory, like my best friend does that. She like does hair, so she used to touching like hot stuff, and she'll be like, we'll be at a restaurant and they're like, oh, this is hot. She's like, it's fine. Like she doesn't even, like she can't feel. It's crazy. So later that night, Khalil ends up coming down to help Roman, and Roman basically gives like $100,000 to like some other financial advisor to like start like investing it to like build up money for like this whole thing or whatever. So that night, one of the brothers calls Roman and Dante and basically says like, come to the crematory. They bring like these two boys. Their names are Splody and Yellow Boy, and they're like in the trunks. And so they bring them out. They're like both alive. They have pillowcases on their heads, and they say that they want Roman to kill them to make sure that they don't go to the police, because they like work with the Baron boys, and apparently I can't remember what they did, but they're like, they acting like real snitchy or whatever. Let's see. Oh no, Splody and Yellow Boy work with the Baron boys. The other people in the car are different.
The other people in the car.
Oh, it was Getty and was Getty. It was Dante's friends.
Yeah.
So Splody and Yellow Boy show up and they bring Dante's friends. So they want them to take care of it. So of course Dante's like, I can't, even though this is all your fault and this is all your fault that we're in this. So of course Dante's like, I can't do this. So Roman literally has to like drags Getty, which is the man, and like literally just like beats him until he's like knocked out and throws him in the cremation box and just like pushes him in the oven because like
alive.
Yeah, I mean it's him or them. Like I don't know. Like you got us in this situation, so like he cooks him alive. And Roman's just like, you know, like, I'm a good person. Like, and so Getty's literally in there, like, screaming, like, burning alive, like, oh my gosh. And so to protect, like, Cassidy, which is Dante's, like, girlfriend or whatever, Dante literally, like, because the other two guys are still there, he sneaks up behind Splody and, like, hits him in the head with a hammer and unalives him. He kills him. So now but Yellow Boy is still there, or he's, like, around.
Yeah.
And then we have the girl Cassidy. So they also have to put Splody in the crematory as well. So then, like, Roman's like, okay, this was for the greater good. Like, we were just protecting ourselves, even though he knows, like, oh my god, like, we're messed up. So Roman basically tells Cassidy, like, you need to leave town, never come back, here's $1,000, go get a new identity, and go. And she, like, gets in Splody's car and, like, drives off. And oh no, Yellow Boy ends up leaving. That's the problem. He leaves because even though he was supposed to stay the whole time, he leaves after like everything happens because he was supposed to stay. So it was just Splody there. So nobody knows what happened with them. So they tell Cassie to leave. She gets in Spuddy's car and she leaves. And then like Roman and Dante take care of like all the evidence. And Roman tells Dante like, you need to come home, like stay in the house. But Dante cannot listen. And so he wants to go get high. He runs off. And like Roman's about to like have a panic attack and lose it. And he's just like, this is not my home anymore. Like this is not who I am. So Roman like gets home later, like honestly it's almost sunrise, and like that night he has a dream about his mom who like is trying to speak to him, and then he sees Neveah that morning, and she tells him that she has Chauncey, her whatever, to like look into the case like informally, and Roman tries to like distract her or like get her not to do it, but that just kind of makes her more suspicious. So Roman is like basically saying like that him and Dante were attacked because Dante was like messing with somebody's girlfriend, not because of all this other stuff that's going on. So of course, after Dante had left the night before, he went to another party, and he went to like some neighborhood called the Skids, and he like basically just tried to black out. And the next day, another one of Dante's friends basically said that a bunch of police officers had came to Getty's home, the friend that got killed, like basically looking for him because he was an informant. So, not only did you go out of your way to buy drugs that you then did not sell and are in debt for and then use, you did all of that with a confidential informant that you have now murdered. You're an idiot. So, of course, like, Dante lies. He said that he left the state or whatever, and then he calls Roman and is basically like, meet me at the crematory, and, like, Roman's, like, still pissed off because Dante still has not even visited their dad in the hospital while all this is going on. So Roman goes to see his dad again and thinks about how like his dad never really like was vocal about how he loved them, and he believes like how cold his dad was is what drove his mom to like have her affair. But he does think that his dad still loves his mom, and like he does feel grateful for his dad even though like he recognizes his parents had mistakes. So then he goes over to the business so that Neveah can leave and like go take care of business stuff, and he runs into Chauncey, and so he speaks to him, and Roman is like, yeah, you're having an affair with my sister. Like, he's like, I know what's up. And so the detective is basically saying that Getty was a CI, and based on, like, the apartment, like, because they went to Getty's apartment, they think that he was abducted and murdered. And the detective asks Roman, like, what really happened, like, with you and Dante? And so Roman basically starts telling him about this, like, childhood story about vengeance on a bully who, like, stole his sister's lunch money and, like, all this stuff. And the detective ended up, like, leaving, and, like, Roman ends up, like, just, like, collapses with, like, release that the police didn't get to, like, that Getty didn't get to tell the police everything about what happened, because, obviously, this is getting worse. So, Roman ends up, like, doing a shift at the crematory, and there's like another like, or there's a funeral home, so like they bring a body in, like a regular body, I'm pretty sure, and there's kind of like talking about like how crime has been in the city and like all that stuff, and that night when Roman goes home, Khalil, his friend, is there, and Roman and Dante kind of just like talk about their situation with the Baron boys, and Roman and Khalil kind of come up with a plan on like what Roman can do with his financial skills to like earn the Baron boys like some money, and then like try to take the gang down from the inside. Make sure I'm still like good on recording. Okay, so then Roman suggests like all three of them go see their dad the next day. Neveah doesn't want to go because she still thinks like the boys are lying to her, which obviously they are.
Yeah.
Also, she's still like angry that she has to do all the business stuff by herself. Which Roman is like still like trying to apologize and like offers to like give her time off and like take care of business for her for a while. So Chauncey is like calling her and tells her that Getty has like ties to like both the Baron boys and like another like rival gang, and so like that makes her even more nervous, like because what do her brothers like have themselves into? So she is like so focused, like she's gonna figure out like what's going on, like she's gonna get to the bottom of this. So now Roman's having nightmares about Getty. So now he like seeks out like another sex worker to like meet up at like a motel, but she's like just way too like young and inexperienced. So like he doesn't really like get what he needs from her. So he goes and meets up with the Barron brothers, and he gives them like $50,000. He gives them some ashes and says that they're both Getty and Cassidy's. And one of them pulls a gun on Roman and is basically like, "You were supposed to bring us more money." But then he starts like talking about the financial stuff, saying like what he's doing to like make them more money and like all this different insider trading stuff, whatever. And so the other brother's like, "Yeah, like I actually think that sounds good or whatever." But basically he's like, if you don't make us our money back, we're going to kill you. So one of the guys asks like where Splody is, the one that Dante killed, and Roman is like basically like, "Oh, I don't know, like they stayed until the job was done and then they left together, like him and Yellow Boy." And Yellow Boy's there and like you could tell he looks nervous, but he's like, "Oh yeah, like we both stayed till the job was done and like whatever, like we left, da da da." So like they like put their stories together, and so Roman can kind of tell like why is Yellow Boy nervous, because he wasn't supposed to leave, and like he's basically like, yeah, he's hiding something too. So, like, we jump ahead, like, a whole week, and Dante is, like, still, like, now he's, like, haunted by all these, like, dreams of all the murders. He's been taking, like, a bunch of, like, Oxycontin and stuff to, like, try to cope with it. He keeps visiting his father, giving the gang money. And he ends up going to this private party for the gang. And him and Dante go, they meet Yellow Boy there. He gives them some more money. And he ends up meeting this girl named Jealousy. She's really pretty. And they kind of bond. They both like anime. They both have tragic pasts. He learns like her father's in jail. And he talks to her about his mother's disappearance. And he learns that she's actually the half-sister of the two Barron brothers. So, perfect girl for you to be dating. So, of course, like one of the brothers is like pissed off that he's interested in her, but the other one is like, no, like she has the right to date whoever she wants, like it's fine or whatever. So they like go to leave, and Khalil ends up doing like this kind of drive-by that they had set up, and no one gets hurt, but like there's an older guy there, and he actually collapses and has an aneurysm. So no one actually gets shot because that wasn't the point of it, but like someone does die.
Yeah.
So Jealousy, is like kind of shaken up, so she does ask Roman and Dante to like stay at her apartment that night, and like nothing happens, and she's like real thankful to Roman for like just staying and like not trying anything. So then they leave, and like on the way home, like Dante is giving Roman a hard time about causing that older man's aneurysm, and Roman's like, "I'm sorry, like I do believe we're in this mistake, like all this problem because of you. Like you be quiet, like just be quiet." So when they get home, like Chauncey's waiting for them. Like he thinks that the Barron brothers are extorting them, and like they're working with them. Like he's kind of like onto them or whatever. But of course they're like, "We're not talking to you. We already gave you like our statements. Like get a warrant or like whatever." So Neveah's like still trying to figure out what's going on. So she gets the case file for her mother's disappearance, which is a cold case. She learns that from Oscar's report, which is the man that her mother was supposedly having an affair with, him and her mom would like meet up at the crematory. I think they would hook up like around, or that day that she disappeared, they hooked up around noon that day, and then he took the rest of the day off, and then she worked until their father had got there. And so she's like just reading over these reports, and she basically has like come to the conclusion that their dad killed their mom. So Roman is pretty much like on Dante, like do not leave this house, do not use drugs, like you need to be cool or whatever. But Dante like does not listen because he's an idiot. And basically Roman is like, Khalil will kill you. If you do not like do what we need you to do, like Khalil will kill you. And so Khalil starts like getting rid of like the stash like in the house. Roman ends up going out on a date with Jealousy. And Dante gets a text from Cassidy talking about Dee Dee, I miss you. Oh my God. Like, both of you are stupid?
Yeah.
Like, you both are dumb? You don't fear death enough. So, Roman, like, goes on this date with Jealousy. Like, he kind of, like, shares with her, like, his, like, kinks and talks about, like, the, like, his BDSM stuff. And they explore that. Like, they go back to her place, I'm pretty sure, and they do all that. And the next day, Roman drives past a stash house, which Khalil ends up getting burned down. Because I can't remember exactly how they do it, but he basically I can't remember exactly how he does it, but he ends up like sneaking around or something, and like I don't know, they blow up the stash house and it like goes perfectly. So yeah, and like Roman's nowhere nearby, so like everything is like going perfectly. They have no idea about Khalil. So he drives by that, like he sees like that went well. And so he tells Dante to like set up a meeting with the brothers. And so when he gets home, Neveah's waiting on him and like has the case file, and he like is like shocked because he says, like she's like basically like our dad knew that mom was cheating. Like she shows him photos of like the mom's car abandoned and like the angles and all this stuff. And it basically like shows like the angle of the seat is like how their dad's seat would be. And Roman is like basically like, I'm not hearing that. He kind of like yells at her and he like storms upstairs. So Dante arranges for Roman to meet up with one of the brothers, but basically is like, hey, he's not in a good mood because the stash house got destroyed. But Roman is like, I'm pretty sure they lost about $1 million worth of drugs like in that stash house. So he basically tells him like, you know, I can help you make $1 million by like buying up all this like construction and products and yada 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 yada. Because jealousy had told him some stuff like the mayor was working on and like all these other products. So he seems kind of interested, even though the other brother doesn't really trust Roman, but they seem kind of interested. And then because of the stash house, like I think one of the guys that was there, they like smashed his hand with like a mallet because like he wasn't fast enough to like alert that the house was on fire or something like that. So then Dante is kind of like, I don't know, feeling sorry for himself. I do not like Dante. I don't like Dante.
No.
Like, he is so pathetic. Like, he's literally like, I know they love me, but I feel like if the family would be better if I just died. Okay. And so he's like, sometimes all it takes is one thing to make you want to live. When Roman like comes home basically like with his favorite pizza, like trying to make him feel better. And so Roman and Jay are like still dating and like still hooking up in her apartment, and he's like starting to feel better. But then he gets a call from one of the brothers, and it's like he tells him to like meet him at this like farm, which is like this infamous farm, and he like calls. He wakes up Dante and he tells him to like let Khalil know like, hey, if I don't come back, like this is where I'm going or whatever. And Dante's like, don't go there, but whatever. So Neveah kind of like overhears this conversation and she's like, I'm going to call the police. Like everybody's kind of like getting involved in this, but Roman goes and it's like this farmhouse. And there's like a bunch of pit bulls, and basically like earlier in the book, like when the guy had come to the crematory with a body, he was telling Roman about how they had been getting a lot of bodies lately where like they were all chewed up by dogs like before they were killed. So like this basically is where they were coming from. So basically before Roman gets there, he finds out that they had killed Yellow Boy, and they basically let like 2 dogs just like attack him because they found out that he had been like working with like a rival gang, which was also a rival gang that Getty had also been working with. So they basically like kind of like pull Roman out there like as like a warning, like basically if you double cross us, like this is what's gonna happen to you. So then we jump to like this other guy who owns like this construction company, and it's kind of like tied to like Roman kind of getting them into this construction business now. But so Roman basically like makes this man sell a bunch of his like business to the brothers, like by like torturing him with like pliers, so that they can like start getting involved in like the construction business, because he's told them this is how they're going to make back their money. And then he goes and meets with the mayor, who like gives him this contract like for like some kind of government contract in exchange for a donation to his campaign. And basically it's to like revitalize like a poor area like in the city that jealousy had told him about. Okay, so then Neveah is still like kind of like going around, and she meets with this woman who used to work with her mom, and her mom basically the lady basically tells her like how much her parents loved each other, but basically said that it seemed like their dad loved their business more than he loved their mom. But she still doesn't think that like the dad killed the mom, but there might have been someone else involved. So Chauncey asked Neveah like to come and see him, And she really hasn't been like seeing him like the more she's getting invested in like figuring out what happened to her mom. And so she goes and finds Dante, who's at a bar, of course, and she asks him like what he remembers about the day their mom disappeared. And he like is trying to remember, but he kind of leaves out a part where he saw their mom with the guy, with Oscar. So they get into an argument where he basically starts standing up for their dad. So they leave the bar, and these two Latino men go in after them, and they are actually from that other rival gang, and they start attacking like all the people in the bar with machetes. And Dante recognizes a few of his like friends in the crowd like that are running out, and he like, I don't know what he thought he was gonna go do. So Neveah like keeps him with him and like calls the police. And Chauncey wants to take Dante to the police station and like interrogate him, but Neveah is basically like, no, like I will like tell everyone about our affair. Like you will not take my brother down there or whatever. So Chauncey's like, I'll have vengeance, blah 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 blah. Like I'm gonna get him, but whatever. She's like, I'm happy I ended our relationship. Like you're a punk. Like basically all this stuff. So the next morning, Khalil comes over, talks to Roman. And Roman is supposed to be going to meet with the brothers because they're supposed to have a meeting with like some drug suppliers or whatever. And they planned on attacking the gun shipment and making it look like it was another like rival gang. But Khalil basically tells like Roman like he thinks like, you know, I probably would have to kill people like if I wanted this plan to go off. So Roman thinks about like his dad, who's like comatose in the hospital still, and he's basically like, whatever it takes, like I don't even care. So Roman goes to the meeting with the brothers, and it's like at this like hotel bar, and there's like no one in there pretty much. And they meet up with this like mob boss, and this boss also wants Roman to like start working on his accounting stuff and all this. But after they like have this meeting, and after the meeting, one of the brothers tells Roman like that the mob boss used to be in the gang with their father, and that like, oh, like they must be friends. And they're basically like, no, like the devil ain't got no friends. Like basically like there's no friends in this gang. So like that whole meeting goes well or whatever. And while all this is going on, Dante tells Roman that Cassidy wants to come home. And Roman's like, no, are you insane? They will kill her, and then that will blow everyone's cover because we said that she was dead.
Yep.
And Dante's like, well, I'm responsible, like, for all those deaths that occurred. Like, just tell them it was me. Like, just shut up. And Dante tells Roman, like, I'll talk to Cassidy, but, like, we have to protect her if she comes back. No! We protected her by telling her to be gone.
She comes back, I'm killing her myself.
Yeah, like, no. Like, that's just dumb. So, again, while all this is going on, Neveah's still, like, digging. She meets with another friend of her mom's who tells her, like, one night their mom had, like, broke down crying, saying that her husband didn't love her anymore, telling her about the affair, and that their dad had found out about the affair, and basically, like, this person does think that maybe the dad could have killed his wife. Meanwhile, Chauncey is still, like, investigating as well. He goes to the crematory. He tells Roman, like, he's working... like he knows Roman's working with the brothers, and he's like threatening to frame him unless he becomes a snitch, or unless Roman gives him like $25,000 and becomes like an informant. Like, no, go away. So Roman meets up with the brothers again, and they go meet with like they basically are like holding some guys hostage that they end up killing, and like, after they kill them, like, one of them slips on blood, and, like, there's a 15-year-old gang member in there who laughs, and they literally stab him to death.
Yeah.
Like, are you insane?
Yeah.
Are you insane? Like, that's a child. Okay. So, Neveah confronts Roman again, because then she starts finding, like, unlabeled urns of ashes, and she's basically like, what have you been doing, like, down here in the crematory? Like, I know that you're working with those brothers. Like, I know that something's going on. And Roman basically tries to, like, reassure her, but she, like, starts crying, and she's like, I'm going to lose my brothers. Like, I lost my mom. So she leaves, and he follows her because he's worried about her. And a bunch of the other rival gang attack her truck. But Roman makes them miss because he rams into their car with his car. So both Roman and Neveah are able to like escape, and he calls Dante and asks him to stay with Neveah at the house. And then he calls Khalil, and he's pretty sure that like Chauncey like set him up to like try to get payback on Neveah and like scare him into like being an informant. So he asked Khalil to follow Chauncey and have one of his like associates like watch out for Neveah. So when Roman gets home, Dante tells him that Neveah's upstairs. She's scared, but she's fine. And Dante suggests that like maybe they should just all leave town. But Roman wants to like finish this. And so he is, or Dante says like he thinks that Roman actually is just like reluctant to leave because he actually thinks he like is enjoying like working with the brothers, making the money, and like kind of being like a big dog. So Roman like goes and checks on Neveah, and she is like scared, she's angry, she's like screaming at him, and he's just like, I have to make this right. So the next day, of course, Cassie tells Dante she's back in town, and she's like, okay, I'll leave, like whatever, I'm not gonna stay long, whatever. But Dante doesn't tell Roman because he knows. But jealousy finds out that Roman had kind of like lied to her, and that he actually is working with her brothers because she did not like that. So she ends up breaking up with him because she just doesn't want to be with anybody that is like working in that crime business. And the only reason she found out is because the brother that doesn't like him told her. So he's like trying to get back at him now. And then Roman realizes Cassidy is back in town because he sees Splodie's car. Yeah. And he knows that Dante is not going to be able to get her to leave. So he asks Khalil to kill her if she won't leave town. And he basically is just like, he doesn't have any other choice. He doesn't know what to do. So he goes to see his dad, and, Neveah goes to see her dad, and she starts like going off on him, basically saying that he took their mom away from them, and a nurse comes in mentioning that he can't have aspirin anymore, like because he's on blood thinners, because, they don't want him to get any blood clots. And so Neveah's like, well, we're going to have him transferred to a nursing home. And she basically feels like, ever since her mom died, she has sacrificed everything for her family, and she's not going to do it anymore. So Khalil ends up framing the rival crew for Splodie's murder, because he leaves like the car that Cassie was driving outside of like one of their hangouts. So in retaliation, the Barron boys have like a bunch of their members go over to the other crew and basically like shoot it up or whatever. And of course, Dante, like high or drunk or whatever, ends up staggering like into the crematory and crying because he thinks that the Ghost Town crew are the one that killed Cassidy, which it really was Khalil. Mm-hmm. And Roman is like trying to console him, but he has to like cremate Cassidy's body. Oh my gosh.
It's a mess.
It's a mess. Like, it's just like, you're an idiot. Okay. So we do get like kind of like flashbacks in this book too. So we do find out what actually happened with their mom. So what actually happened was that Roman and Dante did find out about their mom's affair. So they went to the crematory to confront her about it. And she basically told Dante, like, you don't know what you saw. Roman got pissed and like went off on her, and she hit him. So her and Roman like started having this like physical like confrontation. And Dante like pushed him to like get off of her. Well, she fell and hit her head on the table. And died. Yeah. Yeah. So they stayed there, and their dad ended up coming and finding them, and he basically like sent them out, and he ended up cremating her. And they never told Neveah what happened. So back in like present time, Roman ends up finding out that Neveah is working on like transferring her dad, because she's all so pissed at her dad, she's convinced that he killed her, transferring him to a nursing home, and so because she refuses to take care of him. So he also like tries to talk to Dante like about his addiction, and Dante tries to talk to him about how he's getting like more and more involved with like the Barron brothers, and Dante blames himself for their mom's death, but Roman is like, don't talk about that like ever again. We don't talk about that. So they like apologize to each other, and Roman asks like Dante like, please like just stay home, like I'm going to try and protect you. So Roman calls Chauncey, and he's basically like, I'm ready to turn in the Barron brothers, like I have enough on them. And he tells them that the Barron brothers and like the other crew are gonna meet up for like a truce at this like warehouse, and Chauncey agrees to like show up and like get all this recording equipment and all this stuff, blah blah blah. So Roman lures like the Barron brothers to the warehouse and like the other gang and like all this stuff, and then he goes to the crematory and gets his father's gun, and he just like is hoping like it all works out. So while all this is going on, Dante goes and visits like another friend because he can't just stay in the damn house. And he borrows like a gun, like an idiot, and he's like taking a bunch of drugs and drinking, looking at family member pictures, crying about Cassidy, and goes and challenges the leader of the other crew because he thinks that they killed him. Meanwhile, Roman and like the Barron brothers, they get to the warehouse, and Chauncey reveals that he had told the Barron brothers about his deal with Roman because he blames Neveah for his divorce that he's now in. So they're planning on killing Roman. But the Barron brothers, like the other gang members, actually plan on turning on the two brothers because Roman has actually made them a lot of money. So they're actually just going to turn on them two leaders. So like they basically give Roman permission to like kill like the two like leaders, and Roman basically like tells them like, you guys brought this on yourself, like you were trying to kill me, you were trying to kill my family, and kills them both. He shoots them both, and like he shoots like one of them in the face, and they like one of them tries to like cover up the other one, and then Khalil is also there and shoots Chauncey from like a hidden place because you also suck. And then he tells like the remaining members of the gang to like get rid of the bodies, make sure like they get rid of all those dogs, like and get them like sent to like good homes or whatever. And he goes home and he realizes that Dante is gone. And around 4 in the morning, he gets a call from a medical examiner, which informs him that his brother is dead and asks him to come identify the body. Because there was no other way. There was just nothing else that was going to be done. Like he just was begging for it. Like he just could not stop. He just couldn't. So Neveah had like been off. Like she took like a little trip for herself to a winery. So she comes home, and like her and Roman are devastated. And Roman ends up going to Jealousy's apartment, tells her like what happened, and she holds him. And Neveah gets drunk, and she's upset, and she ends up smashing the little cookie jar that we saw in the beginning, and finds that it has her mom's ashes and her wedding ring. So Roman spends like a couple of days with Jealousy and before coming home, and Neveah tells him that their father died the night before because he had an abdominal aneurysm because someone gave him aspirin or something that fucked up his blood thinners. Because she was so pissed off about her brother dying, and because she thought that her dad killed her mom, that she went out there and killed her dad. Whole time, Roman killed his mom.
Yep.
And so Neveah shows Roman like the ashes and the wedding ring, and tells like it's like demanding that he like tells her like that their dad killed her. And so he explains like, I know that he didn't kill her because I killed her. So she's like devastated, because if you just would have stopped, like if you just would have not, imagine 24 more hours.
Yeah.
Like imagine, like you just killed your dad. Someone that, like, your dad. So she, like, runs from the house, and he's like, just stay, like, we're all we have. And she's like, we don't have anything. She just leaves. So we jump ahead 2 weeks. Like, she's left town. Neveah's gone. She's no longer at the business. She hasn't talked to Roman. Roman has stayed. He's meeting with, like, members of the gang who, like, answer to him now. He plans to, like, go back to Atlanta somewhat, but he's basically going to work with Khalil and reshape the gang to be his business. And they're like, the gang's like asking like, should they be worried about the other like gang? And he's like, nope. He literally cremates the decapitated body of the leader who killed his brother, so he took care of that. Jealousy is now pregnant with Roman's child, and he's planning on marrying her. And she's kind of anxious because she doesn't know what happened to her brothers, because she doesn't know they're dead either. And he's like, oh, they're fine. Like, I'm sure they'll be back soon. And he promises, like, I don't work for them anymore, which that part's true. And that's because she realizes, like, oh yeah, you're now the leader. And as she, like, is basically, like, realizing that he's surrounded by his followers, and she's like, it just reminds her of Lucifer and his fallen angels. The end.
The end.
It was a lot.
It was.
Very interesting. Different. I just feel like normally, like, I feel like this was more of a, like, I feel like his characters a lot of times are morally gray, but this one was more gray.
Yeah.
Like,
I am not gonna lie, I wasn't the biggest fan of him. Now, like, he's an organized crime, like.
Yeah, like, you're a villain.
Yeah. And the other ones, you know, they
do it because they have to.
Yeah.
Like, there is a reason. Like, they don't want to do it, but, like...
And then they end up getting back to some semblance of normal.
Yeah, no, like, this was, like, I'm all the way in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a bit different.
Yeah.
I gave it 4.25 cremated bodies.
I gave it 4.5 cremated bodies. Love it. Oh my god.
So, what was your favorite scene?
It's been a while. I don't know. Probably the end. Like her finding out the truth. Like, oh, you're so stupid.
My favorite scene, very specific scene, chapter 30.
Oh my god.
Roman hired a company to mow the lawn because he kept talking about how the lawn was overgrown and it just is gross and blah, 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 blah. So he hires a landscaping company, and he's talking to the landscaper and find out that it's Ike Randolph from Razorblade Tears.
I missed that. Did you tell me that? Maybe you told me that.
Yeah, he talks about seeing a tattoo of a little girl on his arm or something, and then... I can't remember exactly because it's been forever, but I think he said something, that Ike said something or something like that, and he brings up, my friend Buddy said that or something like that, and I'm like, oh.
I think you told me that, yeah. I forgot all about that. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so that was my favorite scene.
Love, 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 love. Well, do we have reviews?
Yes, we do. Overall, this has a 4.08 stars on Goodreads with a whopping 32,579 ratings. This one's a quick and easy 5-star. Sydney Books, which I follow her on TikTok, said easy 5 stars, but who is surprised?
Well.
Okay, 5 stars. This guy's literally incapable of missing. This one was action-packed from the get-go and touched on a lot of themes, but at its core, it's your typical S.A. Cosby madness of a novel with his vivid writing. And 1 star, 1% of the ratings were 1 stars with a 375 ratings on that. Okay. 1 star. This must be how a man feels reading a contemporary romance. This is such a man book. Mommy issues, daddy issues, masochism, Surface level heart to hearts that give you whiplash, and a woman comforting you about your sibling's death, no questions asked, after you just committed the worst hypocritical action.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna get that one.
And then she said, topics discussed in this book include and are limited to Who Killed Mom? Keith Carruthers is an important strong man. He owned a crematory with his life savings. We run this town and therefore are important. Gang violence. Dante's fingerless gloves with a pinky sewn shut. Roman's not letting anyone forget for a second that he's fixing someone else's problem. And by the way, if you tell a lie, it's got to have some truth. Oh, and yeah, he's pretty good at making money. Cassidy, go away. Neveah and her momentary romantic pursuits. Dante drinking bourbon and chewing edibles. Jay for about 6 pages. BDSM.
Oh my gosh.
Though it was a 1-star review, I quite liked it.
I like the review. I don't know why it's 1 star. It seems like a good review. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, our next book is Once Upon a Time in Dollywood. But our next episode is actually our author interview, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Once I edit it. With Ashley Jordan. It's like it is a romance, but I like to preface by it's more of like a self-discovery. I feel like if you look at it that way, you'll be more prepared going in.
She said that it's also marketed as women's fic, which I think it should lean more towards women's fic.
Yeah, than romance. But yeah, that's our next one. And then that'll wrap October. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I know. Okay, well, that's all, folks. We'll talk to you next time.
But before we sign off, I just want to do another reminder that we have been releasing the interviews with the authors the Wednesday before the episode drops. Please let us know if you like that setup or if you'd prefer us to drop the episode on the Monday before, or potentially drop the episode drop the interview after our episode. So just give us some thoughts, tell us whether we're doing good or we need to change something. But that's my little my little rant, I guess.
Yes, we need feedback.
Please.
All right. Talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.